Working on the weekend or preventing burnout? Which one should you do? What's up, guys? My name is Jack, and welcome back to another episode of Good Bro, Bad Bro. Today I'm going to be talking about if you should work on the weekend or if you should take it off to prevent burnout. Okay, so got a lot of takes on this. Let me first start out with the idea of working on the weekend. Most of you have a full-time job and you have responsibilities, errands, commutes, basically shit that eats up your entire day during the week. So let's say you wake up 7 a.m., you take a shower, put some clothes on, get some food, cook, drive over to the office, start for 9, get done work at 5, and then you get home for about 6. You make some food. Now you got to do the dishes, 7. Maybe you make it to the gym, get back by 8:30. And now you have the opportunity to watch a couple YouTube videos or lay down and watch Netflix, right? That's most guys, right? And, obviously substitute a couple things here and there. You got video games or just laying there texting people, or maybe some of you guys, you wake up first thing in the morning, hit the gym first, but then you have to go to bed early. Most people that work 40 to 50-hour weeks, especially men, because most men work way more than 40 hours a week. Real men do. Anyways, you're going to be burnt out during the week. But that is what is necessary to afford your current lifestyle, like paying rent, paying for your car, paying your phone bills, getting a certain school, graduation, degree or whatever. That's what is super necessary. And then all of a sudden, it's the weekend. And now you have 2 days where you can hopefully do whatever you want. Now, this is going to be taken away from you in many different ways. So number one, people that ask you for help or want to hang out with you, it's always going to be on the weekend because everybody that has a normal job, they have the weekends off. That's why most events, that's why a lot of things at bars, clubs, groups, sports, basically meetups, they usually take place on the weekend because for the average peasant civilian, that's when they have the time off. So if you have friends, like most people, those are the times where you're going to go out Friday night, Saturday night. And on those Fridays and Saturday nights, you're going to be drinking most likely because people have social anxiety and they need to make it easier to speak to others and feel comfortable in group settings. So they drink or they smoke or they do other things. But that is going to make you sleep in. It's going to make you hungover. And it's basically going to prevent you from doing any kind of work on those days. And then you're also going to want to catch up on some sleep from that hard week of work that you did. So Saturday is pretty much a write-off anyways. Maybe you have to go visit a family member, return some calls, check your email, go to the bank, just do some errands, church, whatever. It's going to eat up most of your weekend. So it doesn't have to. All of that is based on how much you can get that stuff that you have to do on the weekend done, either during the week, or just don't do it. Like, for example, you don't have to hang out with people. You don't have to go out. Those are choices. But most people, they fall into that rhythm, and then it feels like their weekend just flies by and they have no time to do anything. But in reality, the weekend is for when you catch up. This is when you can actually put in all the work that you need to when other people are not. Now, this is a very important principle because what I just laid out, guys, is what most people do. And if most people do that, and then you do something different, you do something better, such as work during those 2 days where they are not working, that gives you an advantage. If everybody worked exactly as hard as you, they would be you. If you think about all the people that are very successful, the reason they're successful is because at least some point they front-loaded the work and they did way more work than everybody else around them, okay? You don't get into medical school, you don't have a successful startup, you don't create a successful YouTube channel if you just work the same as everybody else. You need to put in the extra effort. So the beauty of this is that if you put in the extra effort, then you too can achieve these things that the people above you have achieved. But the other good thing is that it's a good thing everybody else doesn't, because if they did, it'd be even harder for you to do it. Because if everybody was working 100 hours a week, then we would all be equal. So that's the trade-off for that. If you can put in at least 6 or 7 hours on Saturday and Sunday, that's going to be 14, 15 hours, which is about a third of the hours you spend during the week at your normal job. So over a couple of weeks, months, that's going to make a huge impact on whatever it is you're trying to do. First thing you need to do is actually figure out a game plan. So are you going to start a business? Do you want to be a YouTuber? Do you want to learn a different language? Do you want to pick up a second job so you can afford something else? Or, do you want to learn a certain skill like trading or real estate? Whatever it is, you have to first decide what it is. And don't be one of those guys that's just watching videos because they don't know what to do. Just pick something and do it, because it's not about finding the perfect thing right now. It's just about breaking out of the matrix, aka your 40-hour per week job that you don't like. So that's what you need to do. But the way that you get to that point is by working on the weekends. Now, let's talk about guys that currently run their own business. Let's say like me. I am a workaholic. I work 80, 90 hours a week. And oftentimes, one of the biggest problems I encounter is burnout. Okay. I'll be working 14 hours a day and I am just out of energy by the end of the week. I'm crashing and I'm like, man, I haven't seen a person in 3 days. Like, I got to figure something out here. And that's when a girlfriend is nice, or hanging out with your buddies, going out for drinks. You kind of fall into the same thing that the 9-to-5 people do, not because you're a 9-to-5er and you're forced to, but because the social pressure that, well, they're all available then, and your own neediness, I guess, for human affection and being social with others. Even though you work for yourself, and technically every day is a work day for you, you want to hang out with others because you're so burnt out. And I think that it's important to definitely take a break. I know my buddy AMS told me a while ago, he takes weekends off. Maybe he'll do a little bit of work on the weekend, like a couple hours, but he needs to take it off. That way he's more refreshed and he's back in his chair Monday, motivated, excited to start all over again. And yeah, it makes him take some time off, better think about things, and prevents him from burning out. Because when you burn out, you don't want to do anything. You just lay in bed all day and you don't do anything. So I think that it is definitely important to avoid burnout. But think about a third world country. Think about anybody you know in a first world country like Canada or the United States that's an immigrant, and what they would think about, oh, I'm so burnt out from work. Oh, I need to take a day off. They literally will work all of the shit jobs that you are not willing to work. They'll work overtime. They'll drive an hour and a half to the location. They'll work on weekends. They're always available. Like, I recently drove across the province and I went from Calgary to BC. Every gas station, every late night retail or fast food place, it was always Indian guys. No white guys. White guys don't want to do that. No women want to do that. No white women want to do that. It's all Indian guys at these random gas stations everywhere because they don't give a fuck. They're willing to work 80 hours a week because they got a family. They want to get other people from their country into this country. So they have just such a work ethic, such a mentality that we don't. And if you said something like, hey, man, don't you think you're going to burn out? They would fucking laugh at you because they're like, burnout? What do you mean? All I do is work. Do you know how good this country is compared to the other country? To an extent, I think burnout and that term is kind of bullshit because as humans, we're literally used to going to war, man. We're used to going days without fucking eating food, hunting a caribou, sleeping in a tent, getting soaked by rain, and then your buddy, a rock falls off a cliff and hits him and he dies, and then you just have to deal with it. And now we're so sensitive that if they run out of the flavor shot for our Starbucks cappuccino, we have a bad day, or we get a weird comment on the internet. It affects us, right? And yeah, those things affect us, but the only reason they would affect us is because we have such high standards of living now. We're so comfortable that they make us uncomfortable, which is hilarious. So that's the other end of burnout. The whole burnout thing, well, you're just kind of weak, right? Because there's guys in other ends of the world that would die to be in your position. And then you say, oh, I'm burnt out, or oh, I need to take a break. No, you don't. You want to take a break, and then you're rationalizing why you want to take a break. It's like when you see a chocolate bar and you're like, I'm kind of low on my calories for today, so I guess I'll get that chocolate bar. You know you shouldn't be eating the chocolate bar, but you do it anyways because you're rationalizing the behavior. What you really should have done is you should have prepared a meal beforehand. You should have known you were going to be hungry. You should have had some kind of pre-made meal that's healthy and fulfills the same purpose as that chocolate bar, but you didn't. And then later on, you're like, well, I guess I'm out of time, right? The point I'm making is, it's very controversial, but burnout is kind of bullshit. And that is also a thought that I have sometimes when I weigh in working on the weekends versus taking the weekends off to prevent burnout. I'll leave you guys with this. Here's what I do. I work on the weekends, but I do that while I spend time with my friends. So me and my girlfriend will go somewhere to do some work, or I'll go hang out with a friend, and we'll both work on a project that is still work, but it's more of like a weekend project, such as, writing a movie or starting a new business, or I help him out with something, he helps me out with something. What I do as well during the week is every night I go to the gym, I do a hard exercise. So I physically exhaust myself, which releases all those feel-good chemicals. It also forces me to do things I don't want to do, put myself in uncomfortable places, challenge myself. And while I do that, I listen to motivational tracks that prevent me from burning out, because I listen to guys that have been in the position I'm in, usually a harder position, that have overcome this, and now they're sharing all these life lessons with me so that I can stay motivated. And then after that, I hit the sauna, which drops my cortisol, relaxes all my muscles, and I meditate in there, and it really calms me down. So by the time I get home, by about 9 p.m., I'm exhausted, I'm super relaxed, my body feels like $1,000,000, and I can get into bed and feel good, get a nice sleep, and wake up the next day and do it all again, feeling good without being burnt out. So that's my take on it, but let me know what you think, guys, and I'll see you next video.